everyone. Hope you're having a great show. So, welcome to the presentation about enhancing the viewer experience in stunning audio and visual quality. First, some quick introductions. So, I'm Markus Fellner. I'm Senior Product Manager for VOD encoding here at Bitmove. And with me, I have JC Morisseur from Dolby, who is a Senior Director for Content Distribution Solutions, and my colleague from Bitmove, Adrian Britton, Solutions Director for APAC. And before we start on Dolby Vision and Dolby Atmos, I want to take a short kind of time to talk about Bitmove and who we are. And I want to do that because the story starts about 2013. It's going to be a short story for this one here, but in essence, we're really grounded in research, we're grounded in innovation, and these are just really the reasons why this partnership and this collaboration together with Dolby just works really well for us. And I think that is really where we can see not the technologies that are great, not the offering that we have, but the partnership, how it drives business results for our joint customers. Now with that, I'm gonna hand it over to JC for the first part on Dolby Vision.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. I gotta say the first thing that shocks me is that I don't look as young as I was on that picture earlier. So thank you, Marcus. And I think it's really great to be here today. It feels like a little bit like a high school reunion, congregating and getting to see old friends. But let's talk about Dolby Vision and Dolby Atmos. So what is Dolby Vision? Dolby Vision is Dolby's branded version of HDR, provides deeper color, deeper contrast, a wide color gamut, the ability to see greater details. More importantly, the foundation of the Dolby Vision experience is about the dynamic metadata that allows you to create metadata scene by scene, frame by frame, and allows on the consumer set to map the content to the capability of your device, irrespective of the type of device, to the extent that it supports Dolby Vision. From a content creator perspective, that unleash a new palette of possibilities. You go from thousands of colors to millions of colors, so that gives you the ability to tell your story in a much different way. And for the consumer, that means that you can be fully immersed into the storytelling. Switching to Dolby Vision, to Dolby Atmos. Dolby Atmos essentially elevate the 5.1, 7.1 legacy experience that some of you may know about by adding the overhead height experience. So creating a 3D soundscape that fully immerses you in the storytelling. From a content creator perspective, we introduced the concept of objects. So now you have the ability to create multiple objects in your soundscape. Think of it as a bullet, flying past your ear and then feeling that. So from a consumer standpoint, that means that you're really at the center of the story itself. Let's talk a little bit, maybe you have the questions for me, I guess?
Exactly. So one thing that is, I think it's great to talk about the technologies, and I think you did a great job in doing that now, but what's really interesting is how does the ecosystem look, and what are services, what are providers that already utilize those? Yeah.
So I was tempted not to use a slide and invite the audience to just go around and walk around the show here and see how far along we have come, in enabling the Atmos and Vision ecosystem. So we have deeply entrenched our technology in the content creation community, and those as well, distributing the content. You can see a lot of names there. I will get into some of the details a little bit later, but we have a broad and diverse base of streaming services and broadcast and pay TV services as well. From a device perspective, we have a broad adoption across the full spectrum of consumer devices, ranging from TVs to DMA, set-top box, mobile, tablets, and so on and so forth.
You touched on services, and I think that's where I would like to hear a little bit more now coming up as well.
So, well, for Dolby Vision, remarkable progress over the past 5 years. We are part of the Netflix platform, Apple TV+, Disney+, and also large media organization outside of the US that you may or may not have heard about, such as Tencent and iQIYI, for instance. So great progress with Dolby Vision. We're starting to expand Vision outside of the VOD and file streaming ecosystem into the live ecosystem as well. We recently had an interesting project with a broadcaster and a pay TV service provider here in the US, delivering Dolby Vision and Dolby Atmos live to their consumers. Dolby Atmos services, similar pattern, similar story, the same services embracing Atmos and Vision, realizing the benefit that it brings for their platform and for the enjoyment of their consumers. Atmos is a little bit further ahead in terms of adoption in the broadcast and live ecosystem with BT Sports, Sky UK, and the likes. But more importantly, again, we're furthering our footprint in the VOD ecosystem by tapping outside of the United States and getting marquee customers such as Stan in Australia, which you guys are going to talk about.
Yeah. So I guess, a lot of you might be wondering now, yes, we have the technologies, yes, there are services out there, but is there really content? And I would like you to touch on that as well.
That's a great question. There is content. I'm not just going to talk about episodic and movie content. So you can see a large amount of content available. We have about more than 7,500 hours of Vision content available for streaming on those platforms and about 5,000 hours of Atmos content globally. So pretty remarkable. Broad, diverse set of content. You can see, you can recognize some of the marquee, high-profile content that exists today, whether it's movies or episodic.
And so I think the last point that would be important is we've heard about these technologies. It looks like super premium, right? Yeah. It's like usually also the best of the best is also the best of the best in costs. It's usually just for the elites. So I think that would be a really good point also to touch on.
And the answer is no, it's not for elite anymore. We really want to democratize access to those experiences to consumers. And part of that is also because the capabilities of the devices that you buy as a consumer, whether it's a TV, whether it's a mobile phone or a tablet or a PC, their capabilities in terms of sound rendering and imaging rendering are much, much better than what they used to be, and certainly much better in terms of imaging capabilities going way beyond SDR or Rec 709. So you will find in the market a broad range of TVs starting at $200 a TV, $250 soundbars, and DMAs for $35. So whatever your lifestyle is, what you like in terms of content, and what your budget affords you to do, you're still going to be able to get access to those two experiences. And with that, I would conclude that the takeaway is that we're definitely in a stage where we're no longer starting Atmos and Vision in the ecosystem. That was 5 years ago. We're definitely in the phase where we're scaling and growing, and thanks to the partnership with strategic partners such as Bitmove, they are enabling the industry to scale those ecosystems faster and in a more cost-effective way, and enabling those operators to really truly unleash the potential of those experiences for their consumers. So with that, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you very much. All right. So with that, we get into some of the technical things. It's not going to be too technical, and we are definitely also going to have then the practice example, so to say, where Adrian will speak to. But I wanted to touch on this, because usually when we talk with customers about HDR workflows and what this usually means for them, it quickly gets complicated. And this is what we want to show, is that by utilizing that partnership and working together, we have made it really easy for anybody who wants to integrate Dolby Vision and Dolby Atmos. And we made it easy because it is hard enough to do video, right? So when going from a Dolby Vision master file now with Bitmove, you can now, in one encoding, in one chain, encode the one Dolby Vision master to everything you're going to need on the playout side. And with that, I mean, you have Dolby Vision, you have HDR10, you have SDR. It's all coming from the one single file. And we've heard a lot from our customers already that this integration and this simplification really kind of got them over the edge of plunging into HDR workflows. And I wanted to showcase this not because I want you to understand all the conversions that we do, but really to understand that HDR is a complex topic and it adds almost another dimension to your video workflows. And that's why it's so important that we simplify it, and that's why it's so important for our customers that this exists. And usually when you talk about HDR, and generally higher quality, 4K, usually then the bit rates explode. And you want to be really high quality, have really high viewer experience that you can provide. And with that, usually it becomes actually that you're not able to deliver that because you're kind of overshooting. And that's why I wanted to touch on the PerTitle that we provide, which allows you to bring that down again. And I wanted to highlight some of the key numbers here in terms of kind of the streaming costs, the storage costs, encoding costs, and also how the processing performs. Now, this is really important, I think, on a cost side, yes, but here we are talking about quality, right? And so that's also why quality is improved by using PerTitle because it actually gets it through to your viewers. It reduces the buffering, it reduces the interruptions for them. And that is, when you want something like HDR and 4K, you really want to make sure that that actually ends up on the screen for the viewer. And that's not going to work if you don't apply something like PerTitle. Now you might be thinking PerTitle is something that has been around for a while already. You're maybe used to it. And that is really where our experience in working with PerTitle for several years and adding improvements again and again really pays off. Because when you're looking at, for example, H.265 4K HDR and comparing that to other vendors that are around, you can see that then again, we're about like 60% less in storage costs and encoding costs, and also there is a major step in encoding speed. And all of that feeds into making the HDR content that is produced en masse already to actually bring it to your viewers and benefit as a business from that additional content quality you can provide. Now with that, I'm handing over to you, Adrian.
Thanks, Marcus. Thank you. So this is great technology. So let's bring it home. I live in Australia, so this is one of our greatest SVOD providers inside my region. So we've worked together with Dolby to bring a unique experience for Stan. They differentiate themselves in the market because they not only buy the greatest content, but they make it look the most beautiful. So here's our case study on OnStand. So essentially it's one of the most popular video services in Australia. It's grown and it's grown and it's grown, and we're very proud to have them as a customer. Let's look at how these two technologies have been put together to make Stan stand out from its competitors. So the Stan workflow is actually quite complicated. This is a massive simplification of it. Stan acquire their content from the studios in a normal manner. They run it through our systems, taking the Dolby mezzanine encoded format and bringing it through a pipeline. This pipeline takes it not only down an HDR path, but it also cross-converts it into the SDR world. So they're now able to deliver to the premium devices, such as smart TVs, but they're also able to convert this across to devices which are technically incapable of displaying the HDR formats, such as some smartphones and some other kind of desktop devices. We not only push the content out down one path, this slide actually indicates that it's going out through multiple paths. So we're delivering to multiple CDNs, and we're running through a number of these advanced encoding processes that make sure that Stan not only are getting the best quality for their users, but they're working in a cost-effective and efficient manner. This is a quote from the CTO of Stan. John, good friend of the company, good friend of both companies. So his view is best available quality, best possible quality. And I think in conjunction with our friends at Dolby, we've been able to deliver that for him in this context. So, Marcus, back to you.
Thank you. So with that, I wanted to kind of capture some of the conclusions that you hopefully walk away of after that talk. And that is first, that consumers demand high quality video in the competitive OTT market. And HDR offers value to viewers on a wide range of devices and resolutions. So that Dolby Vision then provides the production workflow and viewer benefits for HDR. That's what we have seen, especially with the workflow of having one single mezzanine, and with the Bitmove encoding solution then bring it out to Dolby Vision, HDR10 and SDR. And so Bitmove and Dolby Vision combined simplifies the distribution workflow for OTT use cases and delivers incredible results for viewers and business growth. So these are really the things that I want you to take away from this talk, and I hope we were able to kind of showcase those and deliver those. If not, or you have any additional questions, you can find us right over there at the Bitmove booth. So Adrian and I will be there. If you just want to shoot us a message, that's fine as well. Marcus@bitmoving.com, Adrian@bitmoving.com. And if you have more questions specifically to Dolby, then JC has an open ear for you, and you can also set up a meeting with Dolby here at the show. Thank you very much for your attention.